you'll never get it done. There will always be something desired that is not yet manifest. And so if you are thrilled at the prospect of what is coming, if you are eagerly anticipating the new unfolding, if you are having fun in the gathering of the data and in the launching of the desire, and then you are taking your satisfaction from now aligning to your desire, then you are a masterful creator, feeling exhilarated about the process, feeling natural in your creative endeavor, feeling just like you feel from non-physical perspective. Sometimes our human friends do a lot of that naturally. In other words, contrast helps them to conclude new desire, and they feel initially the fresh eagerness of that new desire. But then they notice so severely where they stand now in relationship to their desire that they begin sometimes to feel discouragement that what they want has not happened. And we think that the reason that becomes a sort of normal state of human experience is because not understanding how to get in the receiving mode, not understanding how to align vibrationally with the vibration of your desire, sometimes a lot of time passes between the clearly, consciously understanding that you want something and the receiving of it. And we don't blame you for becoming impatient, because you're not supposed to have to wait a long time for things you want. Because the universal forces are answering instantly. It should be a very short time between your conscious awareness that you want something and the receiving of it. And so this workshop is not about teaching you patience, because patience is only something that you need to learn when you don't know how to get in the receiving mode. But when you understand how to get in the receiving mode, then you don't need patience, because almost as quickly as you identify you want something, you allow it into your experience. There are 3 steps in the creative process. They are very simple steps, but it is important to understand the distinction between the 3 steps and who does what in this process. The first step is ask, the second step is answer, and the third step is let the answer in. You are responsible for the first and third steps only. The universe, God force, whatever you want to call universal energy forces, are responsible and very capable and willing and always answering step number 2. So you ask, universal forces answer, but the most important thing that you must do, that many of you are not doing, that is the reason that most of you are now needing patience, is you must learn to let it in. And the way you let it in is by becoming a vibrational match to what you're asking for. So when a desire is born within you and you are thrilled at the prospect of it, in that thrilling, you are letting it in. In a feeling of eager anticipation, you're letting it in. In a feeling of, I love my life as it is and I'm happily anticipating the evolution of it, you're letting it in. In the, oh look, my neighbor has already achieved that which I'm wanting to achieve, I'm thrilled at his success, you're letting it in. But in the, oh look, my neighbor has achieved what I want, and I don't like that. I feel guilty that I am not as efficient, or I feel angry that he has breaks that I do not seem to have, or I do not like that he has inherited his fortune, or I do not like that he has achieved it in some way that I do not approve of, or I simply don't like that he has it and I don't. You're not letting it in. In other words, when you feel positive emotion, whether it is about the subject of your desire or not, you are in the receiving mode. But when you feel negative emotion, whether it is about the subject of your desire or not, you are not letting it in. So, the art of receiving, or the art of allowing, is about aligning with my desire. It is about aligning with source energy itself. And you are born with this magnificent emotional guidance system because your emotions tell you your vibrational content. Many people do not understand the purpose or the power or importance of their emotions, and so they do not seek to do anything about the way they feel. They have come to accept in many cases, in fact, we would say in most cases, that the way I feel in my human body is a byproduct of the conditions that surround me. So good conditions make me feel good, but not good conditions make me feel bad. And so then most humans set out in an erroneous, ineffective, inefficient, impossible endeavor to control conditions. It's hopeless. First of all, the majority of conditions that exist are not even any of your business. You have no creative power within them. And second, even if they were your business, you can't control them. It is a futile endeavor. Your work is about controlling the way you feel, which means you are controlling the way you vibrate. And when you control the way you vibrate, you are controlling your vibrational output. And when you are controlling your vibrational output, then you can control your matching up with your own desire. But until then, you truly are powerless, and we can understand why there is frustration in that experience. But of course, when you come to understand that you can control your mood, you can control your attitude, you can control the way you feel, because you can control that which you give your attention to. You can control your focus. When you discover that you can control your focus, then you discover that you are the creative molder or honer of energy. You said, I will go forth into this magnificent sea of contrast. You might even call it a sea of chaos, because when you try to consider all things at once, it certainly is a chaotic experience for you. But you said, I am not a holder of the chaos. I am a sifter and a sorter of the energy. I am a focuser of the energy. I can choose that which I give my attention to. And because you can choose that which you give your attention to, you can choose your vibrational output. And because you can choose your vibrational output, you can vibrationally match to your own desire. And because you can match to your own desire, now you can let your own desire in. If you are not able to match your desire, you will not be able to let it in. And you are the only one that holds those keys. Only you can hold in or hold out. Only you can align to or misalign from. Only you can let in or keep out. Only you can allow or resist your own desire. Oh, there is such freedom in understanding that. In fact, we would say to you that that must be the only definition of what true freedom is. When you discover that you can feel deliberately, then you discover that you are free to allow. And that's really what this gathering is about. In fact, so much so that we are calling it the art of allowing, or the understanding of receiving, or the art of letting it in. Certainly, the science of deliberate creation is what this is all about. But your work within this science is about letting in what you have sometimes even unconsciously defined as your preference. You are a multifaceted being who has consciousness on many levels. Even cellularly, you are exuding preferences which universal forces are answering. So even a baby who has not yet learned to offer words, to articulate thought, is thinking, is offering vibration, does have full cognitive reasoning powers. Even your beasts are offering thought. They are vibrationally exuding. They are preferring. They are therefore asking. And universal forces are always answering. Whether it is your dog, whether it is your cell, whether it is your full conscious state. Any consciousness at any level is always asking. And all consciousness at all level is being answered. No exception. The big question is this consciousness letting it in? And so that's why we're here to visit with you, to assist you, if it is your wanting, to get into closer awareness so that you can deliberately allow the things that you have already said that you want into your experience. Here is something that we've noticed that seems to be a big tripping point for many of you. Step 1 is ask. Step 2 is not your work, it is answer. Step 3 is your work, it is receive. But we want you to be aware that step 1 and step 3 are separate steps. In other words, very often, when you are in the place of asking, the very nature of the asking process is not allowing. The very turmoil that you are living that is causing you to ask is the very turmoil that is keeping you from receiving. And we want you to relax and understand that that is natural. When you're asking a question, you are often not in the place of receiving the answer. For that reason, we enjoy very much watching the unfolding of these gatherings, because sometimes, even when you are the one sitting in the chair, asking with great fervor your all-important question, you're the last one in the room to hear the answer. Because you are so involved in the question that vibrationally you cannot hear it. It is the reason that Jerry and Esther make the recordings available. It is the reason that we often choose someone else to ask your question. Sometimes at the end of a gathering, it happened last weekend, someone will leave a note on the table, very disturbed, angry at Esther because she has not chosen them. And Esther always says in defense, I don't get to choose. Abraham is the chooser. But we say, we are always aware of everything that you are wanting, and we are always answering everything that you are wanting to know in multiple times during a gathering like this. So it is not possible for you to be here and not receive the answer from us, but it is possible that you may not be letting it in. What we're wanting to soothe here a little bit is we want to say to you, don't try so hard to get right now everything that you want. Instead, trust that everything that you want is coming, and let your work be to chill out and let it in. As physical humans, you work far too hard for your success, partly because you think that you have to prove your worthiness, and partly because you've been trained to believe that struggle is part of the process of receiving. But we're here to tell you there is no place for struggle in receiving. It is opposite vibration. So, in your basking, you're letting it in. In your appreciation, you're letting it in. So if you go to the beach and you have a lovely afternoon, you might be achieving more than if you were hard at work, diligently working on your computer or your project. But if you go to the beach and you feel guilty about being at the beach, you're not letting it in anyway. If you go to the beach and you bask, then that is productive time. If you go to the beach and you fret, not productive time. If you work at your computer and you are thrilled, productive time. But if you work at your computer and you are frustrated and overwhelmed, not productive time. Productive by what standard? Productive by the standard of you letting in what you said you want. No other standard of productivity applies as far as we are concerned. Because there is nothing that you should do, there is nothing that you must do, there is only that you want to do. Someone said to us the other day, in fact it comes up from time to time, Abraham, I have a problem with your word want. Wanting implies something undone. Shouldn't I talk about it as if it is already done? And we say, yes, if it pleases you. But if you say, I have it, and you don't believe you have it, and it makes you feel guilty because you know you're lying, now you're not letting it in. So each of you have to choose the words that feel best to you. A very dear man recently said, rather than say, I want something, would it not be more effective if I say, I choose something? Very good word. I choose this. I choose this. And that's what we're wanting you to do. We're wanting you to choose thoughts that feel good. We're wanting you to choose memories that feel good. We're wanting you to choose to feel good.